12 days of Beardsmas, day number 8. We're going to talk about the Bearded Mack today. We're going to do a $50 gift card giveaway, and we're going to get it right into a facial hair figure history lesson. That'll work. If you guys are excited, please real quick, hit the thumbs up, the like button on this video, and let's jump right into this lesson today. As you saw in the title, we're going to be going over Salvador Dali. Now, obviously, this is a Spanish artist who is a legend for his skill and for his artwork. We'll get to the facial hair in just a little bit here, but you guys probably know that Dali-style mustache. But I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm an art guy and I know all the technical ins and outs of all the stuff the online world says about he did this well and this well. I don't understand what that stuff means. So I'm going to focus on the person and his life. And if you're an art person, feel free to drop some information down below on what he did really well or what he was really known for. If people are into that, I know they'll really dig your comment. So starting off with this guy, right? Spanish artist. Now, he was a very, very interesting fella. Now, he lived in Spain all the way through the Spanish Civil War. Then he moved to the United States where he really became famous and really started to make his money. But we want to start kind of back at the beginning and talk about this guy's life and all along the way hit some different points of like interesting facts, such as, right, he was very serious about his art. And he also said, though, the most serious part of his personality was his mustache. He took that very serious. He also took his pets very serious. Now, he had two pets that really kind of turned heads, and he brought them with him everywhere, and those pets would be an anteater and an ocelot. He would even bring them to restaurants and get them food when he'd go to the restaurant, kind of freaking a lot of people out. Now, there's a lot of people that believe he had these pets because he was absolutely terrified of grasshoppers. Yes, grasshoppers. Now, he did have somewhat of a traumatizing childhood experience. When he would go to school, he just didn't fit in well, right? He didn't have the same interest as his friends. We'll kind of see a lot of these historical figures didn't really fit in well, especially during school. Well, the kids at school were mean. They would pick on him, and the main thing they would do is they would throw grasshoppers at him, especially once they realized he was terrified of them. Now, again, a lot of people believe he had a condition where it felt like he had bugs crawling under his skin at all times, even though he didn't. Whew, yeah, that is one for like the wow, and then kids would throw those things at him. Really, really sad. But that's his childhood, right? Let's actually take it back even further than that. Before he was born, Dali had a brother that passed away 9 months before Salvador Dali was born. Well, fast forward until he's 5 years old. His parents take him to his brother's gravesite, and they're looking at the grave, and they say, "Son, we have something to tell you. You are actually a reincarnation of your brother who is named Salvador Dali." I mean, as a 5-year-old, imagine getting that news that it's like you're living your whole life, that you're this person, then your parents like, no, you're just him reincarnated, and it's the same name. Wow, okay. Right, decorated childhood from there. The grasshoppers, by the way, he does get expelled from school. When he was asked, why did you get expelled from school? You're so brilliant and you are so good at art. And it was an art school. He said the teachers were too incompetent to grade him. Bam, mic drop. So clearly he was right as he progressed and became, again, one of the most legendary artists of all time, still to this very day. Now, he did use his status to kind of get some interesting ways to get out of paying for things. And pretty much what he would do is everywhere he would go, whether it's a restaurant where he'd have huge dinners for his friends, or he'd go to a store to buy furniture, or he would buy art, he would always pay with checks. And the reason why he'd fill it out like normal, fully legal check, he had the money for it, he would always doodle on the back of the checks and then pay with it, and essentially left it up to the restaurant or to the store to say, hey, do you want to cash this check? Or do you want to keep a one-of-one piece of work or a piece of artwork from Salvador Dali? Most times they didn't end up cashing the check and he got the meal, the furniture, whatever he was purchasing for free. At first I was like, oh, that's kind of, but I'm like, no, he filled it out legally. He handed it to him. It's their choice. That's a pretty cool way to kind of get around these things. And he, again, goes to the US, gets really popular, gets really rich, gets really famous. He loved money. He was very, very obsessed with obtaining money. And his story to meeting his wife is an interesting one. He met his wife because she was in an open relationship or an open marriage, while the man she was married to was actually one of his best friends. So she's married. She ends up getting with Salvador Dali. She leaves her husband. They then start their own open marriage. And at first, Dali thought this was okay, and then he increasingly became more jealous, more frustrated, and even violent towards the end of their marriage and of their life, and it just didn't end up working out. Well, his wife passes, and Dali goes into a spiraling deep depression, and he ends up passing away at 84 years old from heart failure. That's where he's laid to rest, right? Beautiful grave and all this. Until 30 years later, they dug up his body to do a DNA test because this woman has claimed she was a daughter of Salvador Dali with an affair that he had. And she was adamant, and she had some like circumstantial evidence to show, and people were like, maybe she has something. So they literally dug up his body, took some DNA, and the results are in. Maury, not the father. She was not related to him. This was all a stunt to try and get some of his inheritance, to try to get some fame. She was actually a fortune teller. So I think she actually read that one wrong. Whew. Now, his mustache, legendary. He called it a Hungarian mustache, which is true. But today, if you go to beard competitions, this is a category. There's several categories of Dali mustaches, all inspired by this legend in terms of art. Now, was he a perfect human? No, of course not. There's a lot of stuff that's in there, right? We talked about the grasshopper thing. If you look at his art, he has a lot of stuff that stands for things. There's symbolism to them. A lot of his art was driven by like psychology, Sigmund Freud stuff. A lot of it was driven by sex. And if you ever see a grasshopper in his art, almost always it was a symbol of death. It was a symbol of the plague. It was something very terrible, and a lot of different underlining themes in his art that I can recognize, that I can understand and think about how cool that is. Unbelievable legend for art, for facial hair, and just a wild life and story. Hope you guys learned something today about Salvador Dali. Now, shifting over, let's talk about the Bearded Mack. This is the last company on our second round that we're going through. And on this one, we are talking about the beard oil. Now, of course, you guys see on the screen down here, Dan C is worth 15% off the Bearded Mack. That is my affiliate discount code if you guys want to try this company out. Thoroughly recommend every single thing that they sell, and I do know you will have a very great experience because they just do things right. They have great customer service, and again, as always, I could go on, but their beard oil is on the medium thick viscosity, but closer to medium. So what I love about the 4 companies I have for 12 days of Beardsmas is we have 4 different viscosities. The thickest would be Fable on the upper end of the medium thick, more towards thick. Next up is the Bearded Mack on the lower end of medium thick. Then you have Dr. Nick's, which is a medium light. And then you have Beard Octane, which is a light viscosity. So if you want to switch it up, you want to cross-train your beard, avoid the beard plateau effect, you have really beautiful options of different blends, different viscosities, and it kind of defeats that comment I get all the time from people. Like, why would I buy this company over that company? Everybody uses the same ingredients. No, not at all. Check the companies that are just highlighted in this. You have 4 very unique blends, and I could show you 4 more companies, and then 4 more companies. There's such a beautiful variety with these carriers out there, but this oil just is fantastic. Your beard's gonna style great. That medium thick is gonna really hold that nourishment. Oftentimes, the thicker you go, a little bit less you wanna use of the oil. And again, guys, well, I'll probably talk on the third round about some of these scents. They have a scent for everybody. Give it a shot. There's something in here that your beard's gonna be like, I've not experienced that before, and it's gonna actually really like it. So check this one out, guys. Giveaway time. We are doing a $50 gift card to the Bearded Mack. Same rules to enter here, but make sure you listen for the question, which is unique every video. Number 1, make sure you signed up with that Gleam link. It's only 1 link for all 12 days. Number 2, make sure you're subscribed, which most of you are, so thank you so much. And then number 3, drop a comment down below and let me know if you have experienced this oil, right? If you've experienced this oil from this company, how did it work for you? Did you love it? Was it not for you? Was it average? Drop a comment down below and let us know. Now, if you have not tried this oil, what are your thoughts on a medium thick viscosity? Does that interest you? Is it something where you're like, no, that's not for me because of this? Just let us know your thoughts here, and I can't wait to hear from those of you out there that have tried the Bearded Mack's oil. Let us know your experiences, uncensored. Please put those thoughts down below, but I do know so many of you love these ones. Thank you guys for watching today. My name is Dan C. Bearded. Please, one more round of 12 days of Beardsmas. Stay bearded and stay positive.